Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Raise the Flag podcast, and I'm Nick. And you can see me today, and Heather, and Tom, and our guest Jordan. We're all here on video. Unless you're listening to this on Spotify, then you're not on video. But you should be. So go watch it on YouTube or wherever I decide to upload it. I don't even know. Anyway, hi Heather. How are you?
Hi, I'm doing great, thank you.
See, look how happy she is. Now you can see the happiness in Heather's eyes. It's true.
I have exciting things to share when it's my turn to share.
It's
So,
share. Tell us about your exciting
okay,
things.
okay, okay. So
Is it
last
about the
night,
auction?
yes, it's
Yes.
about the
All right.
auction.
Tell us about the
Okay,
auction.
I got introduced to the app Whatnot. I went to a party that Taylor was being they were hosting Taylor from Best Damn EDC. So I met the guy who's running the department of hunting and knives at Whatnot. And he said that we should be on there. And then when we was at the fall gathering, Dominic from Max Level EDC said, Heather, you should really try it. Last night we tried our first live show. It was me and Todd. We sold stuff for 2 hours and we sold 80 items on it was great. It went really well. I'm really excited for how it went. We sold a lot of one-offs or prototypes and we just got a really great response. So it was a lot of fun and we made some money and I'm really excited about it. So, yeah.
That's awesome. Todd took his
Yeah.
shirt off, didn't he?
No,
I
but he
definitely took a
did
shirt
happen
off.
to match some plaid. He was like, "Look, this
Okay.
product matches my shirt." But no, Todd did great
Ah,
too. We just had a lot of fun and we accidentally went over 2 hours of selling. So it was
wow,
like I started losing my voice from talking so
wow,
much.
that's wild.
Yeah.
So he
Yeah.
went full woodland chic and sold it all.
he
That's
did
awesome.
actually he did some of the talking and I did some of the talking. So we just rotated who
Okay.
was doing the computer
Cool.
work
Cool.
and starting the auctions and who was talking. So yeah.
I love it.
Yeah, we
Awesome.
got three
What
more
else you
shows.
got
So
going?
we'll see how it
Anything
goes.
good?
Well, it's coming up on Black Friday week, so I'll be sending
Woo.
out well, who knows when this is coming out because I don't know, but we'll be sending out to our newsletter people a really great coupon for Black
It's
Friday.
coming out
So
on Black Friday.
is it coming out? Okay, so
Yeah.
they should check their emails to
Yeah.
see what good deals we got going on. And yeah, otherwise we're just really excited to be home and not traveling and looking forward to the holidays with our family. So all around, I'm great. How are you doing,
Woohoo.
Tom?
I'm doing all right. I just realized now, since we're doing video, if I'm like choking and dying on my coffee, I used to just be able to mute it and nobody would know. And
Now,
now everybody just saw my
now
ridiculous
everyone's gonna
face.
see you choke
Wow.
and die in your
Yes,
coffee.
how embarrassing. My whole career is ruined. I'm pretty sure I've done stupider stuff on camera before anyway, so I will survive. But things are all right. Things are going good. Kind of like still in a weird place after Georgia Bushcraft because did some work, and then we had Lauren's sister come up, and she just got proposed to, and
Oh,
she said yes, so it was nice. So we were
congrats!
hanging out with them for a little bit, and then it's like I have some work to do, but then I also have deer camp coming up next week and Thanksgiving, so it's like, how much work am I really going to get done? I don't know these things. So as usual, I have no idea what's going on. I'm just happy to be here. Um,
Even on video, some things never change, my
We
friends.
are starting to roll out some of the production stuff, which is nice. It's slowly trickling in. I have the first batch of XLs going up in the past, and this is just a small batch. It was a prototype just to see if everything worked, which was nice. And then I got some wickets coming in, so I'm very excited about that. I think it will be a nice way to ease the load off of me just making wickets all day long, because that gets tiring being a manufacturing shop, and I know there are some people out there that want to know that the maker sweat and cried on their knife while they were making it. But that's not, I have other ones where I do that. But this one, these are production ones where people don't care. So, and also a lot of people that were giving me flack over production stuff, they weren't ever buying my stuff anyway. Most of the time it's other knife makers. So I don't really care too much about that. I'm just happy to have units out there, frankly, because I do get frustrated when you can't. Like when I go to a website and try to buy something and it's always out of stock, that's frustrating because I want the damn thing. So I'm trying to solve that right now. So hopefully
I'm
this
sure
is
being inundated by emails of people asking you when the thing's coming back in stock is always so much fun.
like at least 3 to 5 like a day between DMs and emails asking, "Hey, are you making wickets?" It's like that's literally all I do. So I'm trying to keep up with that. If there ever is a keep up, so I could also work on new models. Like the Bruin has been very well received so far, and it's like I want to get that out there more, but it's tough to do when I'm stuck doing production work myself. So in a long, big spiel of things, I'm happy to have production stuff coming in. Hopefully things go smoothly.
I was like, I feel like you're coming around to something positive, but really it sounded a
it
little whiny. So
It is good though. I mean, for me, it's great because it's like eventually this is going to be able to like ease up the stress levels a little bit because it has been kind of nuts trying to produce as much as I've been doing. I mean, our guest today is also a knife maker, so he can attest how much work goes into making all of these things by hand. It's not easy putting out numbers like that on a weekly basis. So it's going to be hopefully a way for me to like pump the brakes a bit, which would be nice. I'm not saying for the business, but for myself personally, so I don't burn myself out. And maybe I'll be a little less cranky.
yeah, it'd be
Maybe.
nice if you were
Unlikely.
working 16 to 18 hours a day.
Yeah, it's a lot. So, and even like today, like after the podcast, I'm done. I'm trying to do a better job at like really focusing in on the work for the day. And even if that means I'm doing physical work for like 5 to 6 hours, it's like, well, if I stay off my damn phone and just focus and line up the shit I got to do, then that 5 to 6 hours may be more productive than the 8 to 9 hours. So
Smart. I think that your reflection on your work habits has really helped you a lot. I feel like you've accidentally forced yourself to make changes, which is great.
yeah. And normally that's how it happens. I stumble and land on something hot and realize, I don't want to do that again. Then I make a change.
That's just fantastic.
How are you,
Well,
Nick?
I'm doing great, guys. I am well, let's see, what do I do? I write things and I edit things and I do it a lot. So if you go over to offgrid.com, you'll see a first look at Tom's Bruin, which is a very cool knife. You'll see a full-on review of the Auxiliary Manufacturing Pocket Bowie, which is a really cool knife as well. And a whole bunch of other stuff I did that I just don't remember off the top of my head. We also got some articles from the latest issue coming up on the website, so you guys can see that. And I did get an advanced copy of our latest issue, and it was really cool to see my name like in print somewhere.
I'm so excited for you.
Awesome.
Yeah, it was a really, really cool feeling. And I also got these really cool patches that you can actually now see. It's so awesome that I can just talk about something and just show it to you because you can see it. And they glow in the dark, and I have one and you don't. So, haha. Can you get one? Maybe.
Maybe.
And
you have the podcast too, the other podcast you're doing too.
Yes, and we have the other podcast that I am now doing. And I remember like Patrick was like, "Oh, you could just give me some, give me a hand with it." Now I record one every week. So I don't know when any of those episodes are going live, but they'll be out there on Recoil TV, and you guys can watch that. But anyway, enough about me. We have a guest, and his name is Jordan, and he's from JD Custom Knives. And fun fact, before I turn it over to Jordan was the first custom knife maker I ever followed on Instagram. When I knew nothing about making knives and the process that goes into it, and I stumbled across him on a live show or something like that, and I watched him do his thing. So it was really cool. So anyway, without further ado, Jordan, tell everyone of us that know you and the people who are listening who might know you and might not know you all about who you are and what you do.
Smooth.
Yeah, really, Nick. What happened there?
I don't know.
I didn't know that, Nick. That's an interesting fact. I had no idea. Well, I appreciate being the first knife maker that you followed. Well, thanks for having me on, guys. It's a pleasure to be on with three familiar, awesome faces. My name is Jordan. I'm just an average Joe that lives in Texas that tries to survive while making knives, working a day job, raising kids, being a husband, all of those things. And sometimes I do a good job of it. Sometimes I do a terrible job of it. But yeah, that's who I am. That's what I do. The knife business that I run is JD Custom Knives. So if you aren't familiar with it, you can check that out on Instagram or jdcustomknives.com. But yeah, all kind of custom one-off pieces, specific to the customer's needs. And yeah, that's me. That's me in a nutshell. I'm not a very exciting human being. It's just like most knife makers, I sit in my box and
Dude, you just had a gun delivered to your house. Like, you already started out being quite different than the lives we live, because Texas.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
let's not say we're not that interesting. All right.
I guess if that's what you classify as interesting, then yes, I'm a very interesting person
If
then.
I had a gun delivered to my house, I'd be checking the bush to look for FBI man hiding in it to say gotcha. All right.
Yeah.
It doesn't
Yeah.
work like that in New Jersey.
Yeah, no, it certainly doesn't. Yeah, I'm grateful for that. So yeah, that's me. Glad
That's
to be
awesome.
here.
So, how long have you been making knives for?
Yeah, I'm trying to think about that. Some people have asked me that recently. I think it's just been, I believe I just crossed the 5 year mark. It was right before COVID, um, where I really like dove dove into it. Not like from a business perspective. I didn't have a business. I wasn't paying taxes on anything. I was just making knives in my 2 car garage in Austin at the time. Um, and honestly, didn't think it was going to go anywhere. Like I needed something to do with my hands. I had to stay busy. I'd just gotten sober about, I don't know, 8 or 9 months before that, and I just needed something to just keep me occupied. So I was started making. I think I made my first knife out of like a circular saw blade that I had laying around, and I had a Dremel with a cutoff wheel and a little 1x30 Harbor Freight grinder. And yeah, and I was just like, man, this is cool. Like it looked like a prison shank, but I was like, this is, I still
This
have
seems
it
to be a
actually.
common theme among knife makers.
Yeah.
My first knife looked like a prison shank.
Yeah. So yeah, so I just kept going. But I think it's just been just a little over 5 years now that I've been making knives. And then more like seriously, I would say it was probably around that year and a half to 2 year mark where I was like, okay, I gotta like legitimize this thing or else I'm gonna run into some tax problems down the road here. So,
There's only so much you can stuff under the table.
dude, like I wanted to for so long, and then I think like one year I cranked out like 200 knives, and I looked and I was like, dude, I made like $40,000. Like that's as much as like a part-time like minimum wage job or like a minimum wage
Yeah.
full-time job in this country. Like I'm not gonna be able to get away with this. So, yeah, I legitimized everything at that point and took the stress off, the worry off. So.
So where's your
Huh.
biggest seller? Is it the website or is it shows? Where do you sell most of your knives at?
Well, right now, because just been super lazy and like I haven't reopened my books, it's probably been shows. Um, but like if I wanted to open my books, I could take on a lot more. I just really got tired of people telling me what to make. Like
Oh,
it,
you're talking to the right crowd.
yeah, it just got draining,
Yeah.
and now it's great because like I've got a few knives going right now, but like it's all in my time. It's whatever handle material I want. It's whatever steel I have laying around that I feel like using. It's whatever grind I feel like doing that day. And then they all sell eventually, like I'll put them on the website and I'll send out a newsletter or post on Instagram that they're available. And, within a day or two, they're gone. So it's like, why even open the books if I can
Mm,
just make what I want and put it on the website?
mm.
So it's kind of a combination of both.
Are
This
you
is a,
are
this is a
yeah.
common among custom makers, right?
Yeah.
Well, I mean,
Tom, like you remember you used
I
to make custom knives?
I was not a fan of it. Because too, it's like, on top of just the fact of then having a boss every single time. Not saying my customers don't have say, but like the products are what they are, and then people know what they are. But two, it's like your processes are constantly improving, and if I'm stuck doing orders from a year ago, you're getting last year's quality, not current quality. If that makes any sense, you're getting
Yeah.
last year's styles, last year's standards. Where like I could have all new. I change my damn processes every freaking week at this point. So it's like you're getting all sorts of new things if you just let my wild brain run, and you're getting better quality stuff versus if I'm just tied down doing orders all the time.
Yeah.
I have
And I don't know
a.
how people keep track of all of them. That's another hassle in of itself.
I feel you
Yep.
there. I feel you there. I do custom orders a little different because I do like the creativity of making something new. But like people kind of give me like a framework of what they want, and then I don't ever charge anyone until after it's done because if they don't like it, they don't have to pay for it. I'm not making it again. So for me, like, this is what you want. This is how I made it. If you approve it, you pay for it. I've never had anyone say, no, I don't like it. They've always bought it. but I like having that space to be like, this didn't work out, or you don't like how it's finished. I haven't charged you, so someone will buy it eventually. So it's really,
Mm.
I like the challenge of custom work with my end, but it's not a knife. Obviously, it's wax canvas gear, but yeah. But sometimes the custom list gets a little too long, and I forget about them. Like someone called me the other day, and they're like, Heather, and I was like, oh, you called when I was packing up for the last show. I totally forgot. I'm so sorry. I just forgot.
Yeah.
I'm not an organized person ever. Just not my thing. The creativity just takes over in the organization. I need like an organization buddy. Thankfully, I have somebody in the shop. Amanda's much more organized than me, but yeah. But I like customs, just not all the time, especially during the holidays. Because you want to focus on other things besides being busy with custom orders. So I get it.
Yeah.
I mean, if I had the availability and time to have like that's what, like with the production stuff, like maybe one day I'll open up some books again, just to like take a couple customs and everything else. But still, it's like I don't know. I don't know if I want to go down that path and having to. Some people are really good at it. Like a guy like Matt Gentry from Gentry Custom Knives. I don't know how the fuck he does it because he has such intricate builds that he does, and he has books that are like 9 months to a year out. And I'm like, how do you keep track of all this? Because it's like, here's like, he throws in mammoth ivory with these inlays and all this other stuff. And I'm like, how do you even source all this stuff and then even go through all the time with the customers to narrow all that stuff down? I mean, he seems to have it figured out, but it's just not for me.
Yeah.
But JD, you do a whole bunch of crazy custom stuff with your handles anyway and your models. So it's almost like every time you get a knife from you, it's going to be a custom one-off anyway.
Yeah, for the most part. I mean, I enjoyed the customs because it forced me to do things that I normally wouldn't be comfortable with. Like, I had an opportunity to put whale vertebrae on a knife. Like, when would I ever go out and source
Acquire
whale
whales.
vertebrae, right? Like,
Yeah, that's
when would I?
crazy.
Yeah. And so, like, and I had a really good system for it. I would just take names. I wouldn't take details. I would just take names. And then I would like grab the next 10, reach out to those customers, and I'd do it a month before the builds would actually start. And we would, I'd spend 2 days going through all of the details with each person on what they wanted. So by the time I was ready to start those builds, like I had all of the details ironed out. I had sourced all of the materials and I was ready to build. And then halfway through those, I would reach out to the next 10 people on the list and I would start doing that. I just didn't like being, feeling like I had to go to the shop. Like right now, I go to the shop on my terms when I want. If I have time, I can go out there. But I didn't like knowing that people were waiting for me, and that really and like you, Heather, like I don't charge even now. Like I won't take a dime until the knife is completed, because I don't want to be in debt to the customer. Like if they've
Right?
paid me, I owe you something. But until you've paid me, I can at any point I can say, you know what, I'm not building this knife and just not do it. Um,
Yeah.
but there was still that like thing in the back of your mind, like, hey, this person's been patient. They've been waiting. They really want this. They're excited. And I just didn't like feeling like I was letting people down. So now I just keep them closed. And, um, if somebody reaches out and it's something cool that I want to do, like, yeah, sure. I'll do it. I did 2 customs last week, because it was like, yeah, sure. This is basic and this one's neat. Like, I'll make them, but
See,
I don't think
now
I'm ever going to
the
blink one.
tens and tens of people that listen to this podcast are going to be barking up your tree for customs now. You
Yeah.
should put that out there, man.
Yeah, I know.
Well, it's very easy to say no.
It is.
It's
Yeah,
very
it is.
because I did a custom order for a guy that I trained jiu-jitsu with, and he's been one of like my favorite training partners since I moved up here, and his wife commissioned it. And it was like, a ceremony knife for him getting his purple belt, and also he just got into the police academy too. So I'm like, all right, I want to help out Alex. It's like I have a relationship with that guy. Like
Yeah.
it's not just I'm not just making a custom for anybody who says hi to me, but that's like a guy I consider a friend. Like I'll do, and it's like even like I'm gonna post about it later on, but I'm like, and some people's like, oh, do you want to post it? You did a custom? Like it's for a friend, and if people get mad that I made something for my friend, then I don't know what to tell you. Then
Right.
I'm sorry, you're not my customer because I
It's
should be
the
able to make
internet.
stuff.
They'll be mad about something. It's just
They'll
what
always
the
find a way
internet
to be
does.
mad about something.
Yeah.
It's
I
the
need to
nature
be
of
more
the beast.
happy like Heather, and then maybe people won't get so mad at me all the time. Maybe they just think I'm like an easy person to get mad at.
I don't know. I don't have a lot of negativity online, and I'm really okay with it. Thank you very much.
If you want, I can
Yeah.
send some your way.
No,
I'll
no,
forward all the messages over to you,
no,
Heather.
no. I don't know. People don't want to hurt my feelings, and I'm totally down with that. I don't want my feelings hurt. I mean, when somebody
Well, it's
says
because
something
you're
mean,
just super nice all the time, all
I
the
mean,
time.
most of the time, 99% of the time, yeah, I'm nice.
I don't know if we mentioned this on the podcast that came out, well, that we recorded last week, that's coming out, whatever, the last podcast. I don't know if we mentioned this on the last podcast, but in Georgia Bushcraft, Heather was almost cranky for like 15 seconds.
I
I
was
don't I don't
off. I
I
was
don't
just
remember
off that
why. I
day.
don't know what
No.
happened, but she was like almost cranky for 15 seconds. It was amazing.
It
It was
had you guys
beautiful.
worried too, didn't it? Like
I don't know.
I couldn't
Didn't know what
find
to do.
stuff. It was an off morning. I was just like, I just needed time out and some coffee, and I got it back together. But the
I
people
think
were like,
Heather
"Are
was
you okay?"
hungover.
I was like, "I wasn't hungover." Well,
Okay.
there was mead involved. I could have been, I guess. I
She
didn't
could have
drink.
been
You were
possible.
drinking some of Merriweather's mead.
Yeah, I didn't drink that much. I was like, I had a shot of mead and a couple beers. But anyway, yeah, I don't like being off. That was not a lot of fun for me. But I got back on. It was good. It was all good.
Like I
But
said, it
that
was
was
15 seconds.
yeah.
It was a tough 15 seconds.
Everybody just ran. Yeah, but yeah. So totally on a totally different note, you have got another show coming up, Jordan, don't you? What's your next show?
Texas, Blanchard, Texas.
And that's
I
in
got a few
March.
months, right? It's
Yeah.
in yeah, it's in March this year. Yeah, I
March.
think
Yeah.
they moved it back, right? Yeah. So I've got some time. I haven't really even given thought to knives yet for that show.
A
It's
man
still
cut from
so
my
far
own
away.
cloth.
Yeah. I won't think about it till like a month before, and then I'll bang a bunch of knives out and call it a day.
It's funny because you talk to a guy like Mike from Auxiliary Manufacturing. He's like, "Oh yeah, I already got that shit planned out a year ago," and you're like, "How? How do you do this?"
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, like my knife making is like I literally will walk out to the shop and I'll look around and I'll say, what do I want to make? And then I'll like go into my drawer of templates, look what steel I have available, look at some handle material, and be like, ah, that's what I'm gonna make. And then I make it. I like there's not a whole lot of preparation or thought that goes into my knife making. And maybe that's just because it's, well, I know it's because it's not a full-time thing. It's not, it's very low pressure over here, guys. Very low pressure. I want to keep
Well,
it that way.
Well, you're having fun with it, and that's what's important, right? I mean, you're
I just
doing
want to
something.
enjoy it.
Yeah.
I don't ever want to like and this, people ask me all the time, hey, would you ever go full time? It's like, would I if I could, if I could, if I had to, yeah, I could go full time. Do I want to? No. And the reason I don't is because I enjoy it. I really love it. And I
Mhm.
don't, every job I've ever had, I've established some sort of resentment towards it, regardless of what it was. And I don't ever want that to be with knife making. I just want to make stuff. I just want to blow off steam out in my shop. And that's what I'm gonna
So
keep
what you're
doing.
saying is that you don't want to be Tom when you grow up.
Hey, you know what?
Well, the thing is, though, this is a job. This is running a business. It's even more than a job, and that's like JD and I talked a lot before I even quit. And we even talked about that, where it was like, for him, it's like this is his way to cool off and relax and detach from everything. So it's a lot different doing that, and it's like sometimes I miss being able to go into the shop and just you know have fun in there. I mean, I did it last week. It was on my birthday. I went in there and started working on a new model that I'm not talking about any more than saying it's going to be a new model in the future because who the fuck knows when it's going to actually come out with the way contractors have been at times. So, but I just did one completely by hand, finished it all the same day. And I'm like, this was kind of fun just in here playing with something completely new, with something that I just wanted to do for myself. And I'm
Yeah.
like, oh, and then like the next week, I'm like, all right, back to grinding knives away because back to work. So I kind of do
Yeah.
miss the parts of just being able to go in there, say, what am I going to do today, and just let it be fun.
Yeah. I agree. And like I have my day job is great. Like my wife and I both work from home. So it's flexible. It's the type of company where it's, work isn't somewhere you go, it's something you do. Like that's kind of their philosophy. They pay us to deliver something, not necessarily to be in front of a computer from 9 to 5. So there's a lot of flexibility with that. And I think that if my situation was different, where I was having to drive into an office or I was really tied down to something, I think the idea of running my business full time would be a lot more appealing. But right now, it's just like my wife reminds me all the time when I go through these periods where I'll get frustrated with something during my day job, and I'll be like, I'm going to go full time, and she's like, hold on. She's like, I want you to think about this fact that like we have great health insurance. You have a 401k. You get great stock option. You have all of these things. You work from home. You don't go into an office, and you can make knives at the same time. Why would you ever leave that? I'm like, gosh, yes, you're right. Like, let me go back and sit back down on my computer and keep going away here. But
I'm gonna angrily type.
fire off emails. But it's a good perspective because I lose sight of that very much, like a lot of times where I'm like, no, I can do this full time. And then she brings me back down to reality. And I'm like, all right, I'll just keep doing what I'm doing. So
Well,
it
I think
works.
people have this illusion that it stays as fun when you go full time. And I don't know, I've been noticing a lot of people that started quote unquote going full time ever since like COVID happened. And now a lot of them are starting to peter off because like, wow, running a business is very difficult. And I'm
Yeah.
like, yeah, there's a lot more than just making a good product that comes into running a business that people don't think about before they go into it.
Yeah. No, I agree. And I admire guys like you that can do it full time. Um, just because I mean, yeah, I feel like it's hard just doing what I do. And I make a fraction of the knives that you guys do. And I find it to be very difficult just with the limited amount that I'm doing right now. It's really hard. And then you add family and kids and their sports and all of that stuff into it. It's like there's just
Oh
not enough
gosh,
time in the
sports.
day. Yeah, I
I
know.
feel you on
But
the sports, man. Ugh. I'm so
it's
happy the
rough.
soccer season is over because
Me too.
it was nonstop. It was just driving everywhere, picking up, dropping off, driving to God knows where. My poor daughter would leave the house at 6:30 in the morning. She wouldn't get home till 9:30 at night. Sometimes it was wild.
It's rough. Yeah, but you know what? We do it to ourselves. Like we say yes to it.
Yeah, I
Like
know.
my kids are young. Like I can still tell them no to anything. And my
No,
wife and I committed, you can be in one thing at a time. So my son and my youngest daughters, they did soccer. My middle daughter, she did cheerleading. We were like one thing. Great. This will be totally manageable. Every single night of the week, there was something. Every single night, including Sundays. I'm like, we did this to ourselves and we only let them do one thing. And then I meet these
yeah.
families with kids that are doing two sports at one time. And I'm like, how do you do it? How do you do it?
Wait till high school sports, man. Like one sport is 7 days a week.
Yeah, I'm gonna
Like
wait. Definitely gonna wait.
every day. It's just a nightmare.
Yeah,
And
But
it's great because she's passionate about it, and I love watching her play. But
sure.
it's like she's tired. I'm tired. Like I don't want to drive
Yeah,
anymore. It's like oh, so
right.
but we get a reprieve until
Yep.
spring. So
Yep. Us too. We're right there. We just finished last week. Last week was the last week of soccer, cheerleading, all of it, and it was right in time for hunting season, which is great. So it's a good time to end.
this is a good way. That worked out well.
Yeah,
and
it did.
the kids need downtime too. I mean,
Oh, they really do.
they love it, but they also when they stop, they're like, "Oh, it's kind of nice to breathe for a little bit before the next
Yep.
thing starts up again." So,
Absolutely. Yeah, they were
yeah.
getting as tired as we were. I mean, there were days where we were like forcing them out the door to go to practice, right? No, you committed to this, you have to go. And they're like, I don't want to, I just want to stay home. So we were all ready for that break. We love this time of year. We love the holidays. So it's nice to just be able to breathe for a little bit and just chill out.
Do
Well,
you
it's
guys
nice that
end
you
up
have the availability in your scheduling to be able to do that kind of stuff too. Because it's not like you're married to the shop or married to your own like day job because it's so flexible. And even like you can go out hunting with your kid, which is nice. And you don't have people like barking up your door for their custom knives.
Right. Yeah, and it's great. Like, so I work in tech. So, tech in general they have to be really competitive with their benefits and what they offer people because it's such a competitive space. And so like I get 6 weeks of PTO given to me on January 1 every year. So like I don't have to accrue it. It's just given to me. So I like that's hard to take. Like 6 weeks is a long time to take off work.
Yeah,
And so I take off time for all of the blade shows. And then like this next week, I'm off all next week. I'm off for like 2 weeks during Christmas. And it's like I'm really, really grateful for the job that I have because it allows me that flexibility. And it also provides me space to be able to spend with my family during the holidays and things like that. So I do feel like I've really, like, while I have this, I need to just really take advantage of it, and not make any irrational decisions when a small frustration pops up. So here we are.
I don't think you're going to have people hitting you up for custom books now. I think you're going to have people hitting you up for resumes for your job.
Yeah,
I was
maybe.
going to say 6
Yeah.
weeks of time off. I could sure find a way to fuck off for 6 weeks.
Yeah. Well, it's hard, man. I mean, like, look, when you're in like like the position that I'm in, like if I take that much time off, I come back to like a fire, right? Like I've got to, so it's kind of one of those things. And then like because it's so flexible and we work from home, it's like we're not taking days off to take the kids to doctor's appointments and do stuff. Like we just go do it, right? Because I can take my job with me on the phone. Um, so yeah, it sounds weird, but it is challenging for me to be able to actually use all my PTO. It gets really hard. Good
I
problem
could,
to
I
have,
could,
right?
Yeah,
Like
I
it's a
was
good
like, I
problem.
don't know if I'd give any sympathy there. I don't
Yeah.
know. Like,
I'm not expecting any, trust me.
I'll start
I
shipping
could,
you
I
now
could
some knives to
definitely,
heat treat that you could do on your days off.
yeah.
I do, man. I can't tell you. There's so many knife makers I'm heat treating for right now. Like I just did a big batch for Joe Maggiafico. I do all of his heat treating for the most part now, and it's like because I have the time, and they're like, oh, can I pay? I'm like, dude, I'm just standing here, like moving steel. Like it's not like it's a my laptop's in there. I'm working, and then it beeps, and I move it. I literally grab it and move it, and then I come back to my laptop. Like I'm not. You're not taking up a lot of my time, so. I try to give back with this blessing that I've been giving. I try to reciprocate to my friends.
Man, that is some peak level efficiency too.
yeah, I was
I
thinking
like
the same
that.
thing.
I can't do that. I'm a very much focus on one thing at a time kind of person,
Well,
and
you
then
wouldn't
be
have
No,
catch
stressed
me in
out
my
in the
shop
background.
this morning because I'm grinding bevels and prepping knives while folding foil and throwing stuff in the kiln. It's like trying to be like have 8 million arms spinning around. And that's the nice part about a small shop is that you can bounce around and do these kind of things. It's not
yeah,
like I have to like ride a dirt bike over to the heat treating room to go take the things out of heat treat. But it's still a time consuming process and it needs to be done correctly or else you don't really have a knife. You have a sharpened butter knife.
yeah, it's true.
Of all the vehicles that you could have chose to ride over to your heat treating room, why dirt bike?
God, it's going to be a pretty rugged shop when I get the new
Huh.
bigger one.
All right,
Yeah.
I was just wondering what you had like pictured in your head there. Like, is there going to be like ramps? Are we
It's going to
doing
be like a
jumps? Like
compound.
There's
We're,
gonna be
compounds?
we're not
jumps.
we're not just doing a straight like Amazon style building. It's going to be a
Okay.
goddamn compound.
All right.
You have to go through. There's going to be some traps and stuff like that. You got to
Traps. Oh man, there's traps.
just in case there's like intruders and shit coming in. We can't have
All
that.
right.
So
All right.
Did you see Gunstone Creations posted a video of him riding a scooter around his shop from
I
station to
did see
station?
that.
Yeah, that was great.
The guys from
Must be.
Baker Forge and Baker Forge and Tool, they have scooters that they ride around the shop. But then when they have somebody from the town stopping by, they have to like hide all of them.
Yeah,
Like, obviously, you'll get in a little bit of trouble for riding scooters around a manufacturing plant.
yeah.
That's gotta be
Heather's
pretty
got
OSHA's
two
showing up.
costumes,
Hide it.
so
Yeah,
Yeah, hide all the scooters.
We have
yeah.
a mule, but we get around the property, not the shop with it. We have like a Kawasaki mule 4x4. That's what we get around the property with. And a
Yeah.
three wheeler, like a 1980 something big red three wheeler that I'm pretty sure is illegal, but Todd's Todd's family's had it since the 80s. So yeah, I love the three wheeler.
so wait, can we get you or Todd in a T-Rex costume driving one of those?
Have you been in
That
those
would be fun.
T-Rex costumes? They're very
No,
awkward. Yeah, they're very awkward movement in those.
listen, I don't really. That's a you problem, Heather. I just want it for entertainment. Make it
Oh,
happen.
just to make you happy. Okay,
It's
I can ask Todd. That's all I can do. It would be funny though.
that would be fun. Would be. Oh man. So I don't remember what I was going to say. This video thing is really messing me up. Even though we're always looking at each other, it's like, but now everybody's looking at me, so I'm like really self conscious of all my movements and stuff.
And then you should fix your cricket hat.
I, you know, I don't want to.
It's been driving me nuts since you started.
Well, guys, deal with my crooked hat. There's a reason for it,
There you
but I will
go.
It's
never.
funny because we were talking about like doing all different backgrounds and stuff, and you were like, "Oh, maybe we can get like a tablecloth or something to go over your shitty looking closet." And I'm like, yeah, or I just don't care at this point.
Yeah, I mean,
Because it's like, I don't put out the illusion that things are a bigger operation than what they are. I am in a guest, it used to be a guest bedroom, then became a man cave, and now is an office.
Yeah.
So it's like, we got rid of the futon that was in here, and now I'm getting storage drawers in here for stuff. It is
exciting.
like, there is, yeah, very super exciting stuff. But it's like, because it's things are very, very small here. Even when I was talking about the production I was doing, I'm like, yeah, guys, like for the longest time, it's just me in a garage. Like, this isn't some crazy operation going on here. I'm not trying to all the glitz and glam that you could do and edit into videos. I'm like, no, it's just me in a box trying to pay my mortgage.
It always makes me think of that song, "You Look So Much Cooler Online." I mean, when I meet people and they think there's so much more going on, I'm like, yeah, I just look cooler online. I'm not doing anything different, but yeah, I mean, I just did a quick little tour of our shop because I think that online we look like we much bigger than we are, and we're in one space, and then this is the office bedroom. So big personality is all I can think. We look like we're really big, but we're not. It's just us in our half a
Oh,
shop
that's
upstairs.
what it is. It's all
Yeah,
part of the charm. I mean, at least you
yeah,
have a space. Like this is my office slash bedroom that
yeah.
you all get to experience here. Because my wife also works from home, and she has a nice big setup because she does crazy stuff that I couldn't even possibly fathom. And she's got like all these screens and things going on, so she needs the space. And I have my laptop on top of this little dresser and propped up on books, and that's where I do my business.
I'm in my kid's playroom right now. I mean, like I
See, there you
often
go.
I'm shooting baskets and like goofing around on Zoom meetings. It's just you take what you use what you have.
Yeah, man,
Yeah,
that's it.
that's
I live in
Yeah.
a tiny little house, so we make the best use of our space, and this is the best use of my space. And
The
if I
nice
want to go
part
take a
though,
nap in the middle of the podcast, I can. So,
oh, don't do that. Well, what we do though, even though it's like it could seem like a bigger operation, we all put our faces out there, and you know who's actually behind the companies.
mm-hmm.
Because like we're in the works for getting in with another group of guys that run this other hunting show and everything. And one thing they were talking about is like they had another big company reach out to them, very large company, and they're like, yeah, but like we don't even know anybody there. Like it's just X email from X certain place. It's like versus if we work with Nuge, it's like who we work with is like Nuge. You're working with Nuge.
Right.
Oh, from where? From Knives by Nuge. It's like, oh, got it. Not just X corporation. And it's like because you really can then see the support. It's like, yeah, when you guys are buying from like me or Heather or JD, it's like you're not buying from God knows who supporting whatever shareholder is there. It's like I don't even know how to set up a shareholder. I'm just
Right.
like I don't even know how to do that. All I know is I
I'll
need to
share
pay
with
my
I
you,
am
money.
the
Tom.
shareholder.
Yeah, well, then you guys can come share some of the work in the shop. How about that?
Hey, we talk
I
about
think
you,
there's
Tom.
yeah. I think there's a lot to that though, Tom. Like I think I do believe that people they buy the maker. They're buying the maker a lot more than they're buying the product, I think most of the time. Um, and I think having the face to that brand, right, is really, really important. I when I first like legitimized it as a business, I made a commitment for almost a year and a half to do Instagram Live every Monday through Friday in the evening. And I would just make what I was working on, but I was engaging with people and I was talking, and my kids would walk out. Tina would walk out. People would start asking Tina questions while she was in the garage at the time. And like I felt like people like we were able to just connect with people differently doing that. And now like we just don't have time with all the kids being older now and stuff to be doing that as much. But I think there's something to be said about seeing the face. And that's why I love your videos, right? Because like it's you being goofy in, your small shop, just talking about what you're working on. And it's like, that's the guy I want to buy from, right? I don't want to buy something off of a shelf or so like, I want to buy from this goofball here in this communist state. And, you know,
Try to help a brother out.
that's right.
I got a couple comments the other day because I posted a picture of a little Swiss Army knife because we're in Lauren's sister got proposed to in Central Park, and I'm like, anybody who lives near New York City is like, fuck my life, we got to go where?
Yeah.
But they're from Alabama, so it's like a little bit different. And
Yeah.
But I'm like, what can I even carry there that's legal? I'm like, I'm gonna bring the tiniest little Swiss Army knife, and I'm like, I'm holding it in my hand out there. I'm like, this is probably still fucking illegal.
Oh
Like,
no!
Yeah.
I'm gonna get like pinched by a cop who's hiding in the bush. Apparently,
Right.
there's lots of cops and feds hiding in bushes around by me. But
Yeah, a little
Wow.
paranoid there, Tom.
or maybe they're just following me. I don't know.
Yeah.
But I'm like joking around. I'm like, great. I can't even carry it probably this year if you find the wrong guy out here. But I don't know. It's so tough too to think about even possibly moving away because like I love the idea of a place like Texas where you're gonna have a zebra in your front yard and have guns delivered to your door. But like I don't know if I can make that move. Like John was from Badger Claw was talking. He's like, "Come on down here. We got plenty of freedom here." And I'm like, "Yeah, but you guys, it's very flat there and not cold. Like we're getting
Yeah.
snow later, and I'm excited. You guys don't have snow down by you guys.
And I did it, Tom. Like, so I was raised in Northern California. I went to college in like the LA, San Fernando Valley, Southern California, and that's where I met Tina. And so like yeah, it was a drat. Like when we decided we just passed the 10-year mark, so we can actually claim Texan now. Apparently Texans told me when I moved here, you can't say you're Texan until you've been there for 10 years and put in your time. So I can claim Texan now, which is great. But it was hard, man. I mean, like leaving all of the family, like all of our family's still back in California. Um, and then coming out here where it was hot and flat and it was definitely an adjustment. So like for us, it was primarily just because we were like, we can't afford to like raise a family here. Like we were paying an astronomical amount for this 2-bedroom apartment in Mission Viejo at the time. And I was like, there's just no way. So we came here. I actually took a job with Apple and we moved here. And now though, the interesting thing is like I can't imagine leaving. Like you couldn't get me to leave Texas. There's no, I told Tina I wouldn't move back to California for a job that was paying me over $1 million a year. Not a chance. Just wouldn't do it. So I think you adapt, So that's my long way of saying like, please come to Texas, man. Like
Well, one
we'd
thing
love to
that
have
like
you.
we're running into is like because I talk to a lot of guys that are also doing this full time, do it part time, whatever the fuck, guys that I trust, and like they're like, oh well, why don't you rent space? Because like I am tight right now on space.
Yeah.
Like we just got a storage unit to move stuff out of the basement to just make more space in the basement. It's getting ridiculous. But to rent space here, shop space, it's going to be like way more than what I pay for a mortgage. And I'm like, and I talk to other guys that are like in Tennessee or like Nevada, and it's like, yeah, it's like we're paying like $1,000, and I'm like, I have all the space. I'm like, man, if I could find that for $1,000,
Yeah,
I'd be in there
not up
already.
here. Not in the
No,
Northeast. You'd have to go to Maine. That would be like the
no,
only place that you could find land like that.
but it's just everything around here is generally more expensive. Like even Lauren's sister's fiance, we were going grocery shopping. He's like, yeah, that bag of dog food, I just bought it. It's $10 cheaper where I am. And I'm like, but it's the same fucking bag of dog food. How does it cost that much more in New Jersey? Like,
Yeah.
how do these things work?
Dude, we
So
felt rich when we moved to Texas. I remember the first time we went into like the HEB grocery store, and not only did somebody like hold the door open for us, we were like, "What just happened? Did that
you're
person
like, do
just
you
like
want
hold
money
it?"
for that or what do you want?
Yeah, but we were like, we filled up this cart of groceries and we checked out, and I remember it being like under $200, and my wife and I both looked at each other, were like, "We're gonna be rich. Like we're gonna be rich here. We're gonna save so much money. Like it was crazy." But then of course, you adapt to it, and then your spending habits change because of all the money you're saving, and then you're right back to where you were. But
Weird, we're not rich anymore. This is bullshit.
That's it.
yeah, we bought a travel trailer and a new truck and put all this money into the shop. Wow, we're back to being poor again.
But you got new toys, which is
But
always
we
fun.
have new stuff that brings us enjoyment. So yay, go figure. Um,
Yeah, I don't
but
know. It's always difficult. I talked to a lot of people down, and when we were in Georgia Bushcraft, and like one of the guys I was talking to about, potentially moving, and this is also way in the future. But I was talking to Greg from Smoky Mountain Knife Works, and he was telling us about like how Tennessee works, and it's like it's almost like they want you to start a business in their state. Where in New Jersey, it's like they're finding every which way to like penny pinch you and make your life miserable. To even one thing people talk is like, oh, why don't you just build a bigger shop on your property? I'm like, I can't even put up a fence in my yard without like 80 million permits, let alone putting up a new building. But then he's like, yeah, down in Tennessee, he's like, as long as your business is making like under $500,000 a year, they don't care. Build it as big as
yeah,
you want, as long as you have the space. And I'm like, fucking A, that does sound kind of nice.
Well, like you look at our buddy Brandon, BP Customs. Like I think he did it right, right? Like he was
Yeah.
in LA, same thing, moved to Kentucky with the family, and now it's like he's living the life, like in that. And we talked a lot about that move, and um, but it's like I just don't think I don't think he would change it, for anything. Like it seems, at least from what it looks like on the internet, looks like he's just loving life where he is.
Yeah, he's a good guy. And we went full time about around the same
Right
time
at the
when he
same
was
time,
talking
yeah.
to him when he was moving. He's like, for this small house I have in LA, he's like, if I'm getting a house like 3 times the size and 3 acres in Kentucky, and like now he's out in state land. He's got all this state land and everything around him. And I was telling him the other day that he needs to buy a canoe, and then he ended up doing that because I'm like, dude, like it's so much nicer living
Buy
out
a
there.
canoe.
Well, it's because we were talking about boats and everything. I'm like, bro, don't just go out there and buy a freaking fishing boat from Bass Pro. Buy $100 canoe. You're gonna get more than enough fishing on
Yeah.
that thing, especially with your kids and stuff like that. And they don't know the difference. Like they don't.
Yeah.
Also, they probably don't care if they're on a
They just think
pontoon
they're on
with
a
a
boat.
friend or
They're just on a
they're on a
boat.
boat.
Yeah.
And like, so are you. I like this little boat that I got for $100 off Facebook Marketplace. I've been on so many goddamn adventures with that thing, and it's like giving me way less headaches than my fucking pontoon boat has. I could tell you
Yeah.
that. So
Yeah.
it's like, sorry, sometimes you don't always need to go big, but it's like where he's at now. It's like you look at the lifestyle differences you can get, and also just the ease of spending money. Because like California, fucking a, I can imagine that place is just as expensive as Jersey.
Yeah. That was tough. I mean, and it's worse now, right? But I mean, in Texas is like it's getting more expensive as well. But I mean, when we bought our house, I mean, we live on 3.5 acres. I have a, detached shop that's, I don't know, 25 yards from my house. Um, and I mean, there's no way we could have bought this for under 1.5 million in California. It's just not like it's not possible. And like we live in an older house, and we knew that when we came into here. But like the space is great, 3 to 5 acres, everybody around us. So like we're spread out. It's quiet. We're not inside the city limits. So we don't have to follow all of like the city limit rules. I don't know, man. I love it.
And you can do
You're
normal Texas stuff like just shoot guns off your porch in the air because you're bored.
Yeah, my son and I were shooting a 22 off the back patio the other night because I suppressed it down, and I was like, dude, you've got an airsoft gun that's louder than this. Let's go. And so we were just ding, 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 just going. But I mean, you'll see. You're coming out for Texas. John was actually telling me yesterday that you might fly into San Antonio. So if that's the case, then hopefully you guys can come out a little early and we can, get into
Some
some fun
hootenannies.
before you go.
I was
Yeah,
like, trouble?
I gotta be careful
This,
what I
like,
say
this,
here.
this sounds like a plot. This is all a
Yeah.
plot to get
My
Tom to
FBI
stay in
guy is
Texas.
already in the bush outside my house listening into the conversation.
There's
So be
those
careful.
bush
Yeah,
guys, Tom. I don't know.
yeah.
Yeah, no, we're planning on, we booked the hotel for Wednesday, so we're going to see if we can move that over a little bit, and then we're going to
Hmm.
try to fly down. And because I always wanted to go down and visit you guys in Texas anyway, because I always figured it'd be fun to go down there and shoot content too. Because I told
Oh
John, I'm
yeah.
like, you guys have something to go hunting for or fishing for like every day of the year. I'm like, it's
I've
Texas.
got 650 acres. My hunting lease is 650 acres, and it's got a river running through the south end of it. So like, you wanna you wanna go shoot some guns and have a good time.
I'm going to come back with cowboy boots and a hat, be like, Lauren, we're moving to Texas.
He's not.
We
He's
can go
not coming
drop some
back. I think
hogs. We
that's.
can take the thermal out and drop some hogs and just give you all the content you want.
All this shit
So they're
sounds
gonna they're
awesome.
gonna convince Tom to stay. So, bye, Tom. The Northeast
Well,
will
it's
miss you.
it's funny because when John told me that, I'm like, I don't know if Texas is gonna want me though. They're gonna hear my sarcastic ass attitude and be like, "Go the fuck back up there."
We talk about this a lot, but it's really funny when Northeastern people go anywhere else because people just aren't really like ready for how we talk. And I do my best to kind of like tone it down a little bit, but like just because we're cursing at you doesn't mean we're mad at you. That's just how we talk. And New Jersey's is the worst of all. So,
We really are. We're pretty bad. We were on a vacation once, and this couple we were hanging out in the hot tub, and this couple's like, "Oh, you guys from New Jersey?" I'm like, "How the fuck you know we're from New Jersey?" And the guy's like, he's like, "Literally what you just said is how I know." And I'm like, "Oh, okay."
My kids are starting to say y'all. Like my wife and I say y'all, but it's cute like hearing so my son was born in California, and then we moved when he was 6 months, but both my girls were born here. And it's just cute seeing them like they're being raised Texan, and hearing them, oh, did y'all go do that? I'm like, you guys are such cute little Texans. You're saying y'all.
It's funny you bring up y'all because I say y'all a lot, and people look at me like, "Why do you say y'all? You're not from anywhere that says y'all." But I just had a friend who was, from the area, and I just picked it up, and I was like, "I like to say that." So, and for years now, I've been saying y'all. And people are like, "Why do you say that?" I'm like,
It's an
"Because it's
abbreviation. It's way easier to
y'all.
say.
It's easier.
Where are y'all going? Yeah, like it's easier than
Just
where is
flows.
everybody going tonight? Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
It's an easy word to
it's
say.
nice. It's nice. Heather? Do you have any Is there any Washington lingo that is exclusive to Washington?
Yeah, they say excuse me and please.
They smile. They're nice to people. No.
No, it's Washington. It's gray and cloudy here. Most people are not friendly.
Well,
Just,
it's not even like you really have to see people, Heather, because you live in a forest.
I have to remember to leave the house. I mean, it's been a week since I've left the house, so it's like, oh, it's time to go.
Must be nice.
It is actually, but then sometimes I feel like I've turned into a hermit. So I do try to go out and see people, but I can't think of anything that people have commented on. I mean, a lot of people that move to Washington from other places call it Washington. They add an R to Washington,
Washington.
but those are usually people from West Virginia because a lot of people from West Virginia move to Washington. So
How does that work out?
I don't know.
Why
I
from
don't
West
know.
Virginia to Washington?
I don't know. And then they call it Washington. You got to add the R, which isn't there. So,
Do you
but
add the
other
word the before your freeways?
the freeway.
Like
I
no,
don't.
so like in like a dead giveaway that we were California when we moved here is we would say the 1604 or the 410. So like you take the
Oh,
410 to the 1604 because that's a very California thing. Everybody says the 5, the 405, the 99. And so
yeah,
when we
yeah.
moved here, people are like, "You're from California." I'm like, "How do you know?" They're like, "Because you said the."
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
like,
We
We
"I
did
do
that.
didn't
We
that.
even
did that.
think of that."
We
Yeah.
did that in New York. I remember when I was in New York. We was like the LIE, the Van Wyck Expressway. Yeah.
They don't. Yeah, apparently that's not a thing in Texas. So you take
Hmm.
1604 to 410 to 37. Like you don't say the. And the
And
other
see
thing
that
that we
that just
said
sounds like
was,
math, and now I'm confused.
yeah, and we also said the word hella, like
Oh, that's
that's
a
hella
California thing. Yeah.
cool or hecka cool. And that's not something they say out here. So it took us a while to like try to remove that from our vocabulary.
So they didn't give you the stink eye when they saw you.
Well, the day we moved to Lavernia, so I have a great relationship with my mail lady. And I did it when we lived in Austin, I had a good relationship too because we're shipping knives, right? So I text her on pickup days and just say, hey Kathy, I've got pickups today. And then she's really good about coming down and scanning them at my door. So like she'll scan them all so that they're in the system because I had some knives recently stolen out of the mailbox when she was on vacation and it was a mess. But when I moved here, I went into the post office and I said, "Hey, we just moved in 121 Wood Creek. Like, who delivered the mail over there?" And the lady behind the counter said, "Where did you move from?" And I said, "Well, we moved here from Austin." And she like, in which Austin is very much like a Southern California, right? It's like
Yeah.
the California in Texas. She like gave me this long, hard stare, and she was like, "Don't you Austin our Lavernia?" And I was like, "Oh no, no, like I'm an asylum seeker, like I'm a refugee, like I'm here, like." Don't worry, I'm a firearms dealer. I'm a knife maker. Like I'm making Texas better. Um, but it was like they were serious. They were like, "Don't be coming in here trying to bring that Austin with you." Just we're good.
Yeah,
It happens.
it's funny because that stuff happens though. I moved from Long Island, New York, to Oxford, Connecticut, and Oxford is like a teeny tiny little town in the lower Northcote Valley, and we don't have a lot of people here. And I remember getting the stink eye when I told people I'm from New York, and they're like, especially Long Island, they're like, "Don't build a McMansion here," and I'm like, "Don't worry, I'm poor, I can't do that." Um, so, but now I've been up here for just about 4 years now, and every time I see someone from New York, I'm like, "Fucking New Yorkers,
Yeah.
go back to New York." I'm like, "You suck. I don't want that." I don't know. I enjoy my little hermity woodland lifestyle. That's what I'm looking for. So, Heather, if I lived where you live, I would never leave the house ever.
That's
You'd never
great.
see me ever again.
That's great.
Um, but anyway, I don't know. I guess we're getting to be about that time. But before we go,
Time.
because
Oh, okay.
we have video now. Heather, show the audience the mug.
No,
Show the audience the mug. Do it.
If they didn't notice, it's their own fault.
Well, whatever. I'll get a freeze frame of it at some point.
Everybody's
Probably not,
quickly
but
rewinding to go back and see the mug.
um. All right, fine. Heather doesn't want to show the mug because she's too nice.
Nope, some
Um.
mystery there.
All right. So before we wrap it all up, Jordan, why don't you tell everyone where they can find all of your stuff?
Yeah, sure. So my Instagram is where like I post everything I make on there, whether it's available or not. That's just kind of where I'm posting stuff, and that's JD underscore custom underscore knives. They make you do the underscores. So that's the Instagram, and then my website is jdcustomknives.com. That's where I post anything that's available, any of the production stuff when it's available. We post it all there. And yeah, and then my cell phone number's on my website. So like if anybody needs something or they just want to call and beg me for a custom that I probably won't make, my my cell phone, the lines are open.
The answer is no, but I'll say
There is a
hello.
clear path to no for you.
Prank calls, whatever
Yeah,
makes you happy.
that's right. Exactly. Yeah.
Okay, awesome. Does anybody else have anything they'd like to add before we wrap it up?
No, I'm good. I mean, come check out the website, pnwbushcraft.com. We got lots of great things on there. We ship really fast. We guarantee our stuff. Yeah, that's all I got.
Yeah, go see Tom at Knives by Nuge. Ask him for customs too. He loves that.
Mm-hmm.
Also,
And
send him
ask me if
emails
I
about
make
when things are
whippets.
coming back in stock. He likes that as well.
Yeah. Things are
Troublemaker.
happening.
I think Nick's the troublemaker on this podcast. I think he's
Today
he's stirring
I
the
am.
pot
Today
today.
I feel like being an instigator. But anyway,
Ooh.
Heather, you closed it out one time and you did such a better job rambling than I did. So close it out.
All right. First of all, Jordan, thank you so much for joining us. We appreciate you
Thank you,
sharing the
guys.
conversation with today. If you guys want to check us on Spotify or on the website, Raise the Flag Podcast. If you want to be a Patreon member, we have one. If you want to support what we're doing, and please tune in. I think we're going to be putting these out every week again. We appreciate the listens. And if you want to rate, review, send us a message, let us know if there's a guest we should reach out to. We'd really appreciate that. Have a great day, you guys.
We're going to be on YouTube.
And check us out on YouTube.
Yes, do it.
Such a better closing than mine. Goodbye.
Right? Well, Tom would be like, fuck off. And I would just ramble on for 15 minutes trying to leave because I don't know how to exit
Heather, you
conversation.
now have a new job.
So anyway, see, now we're rambling. Heather did a great job, and now we all started talking. Anyway, thanks. Bye, guys. Bye.
Thanks, y'all.
Y'all.
Hey, hit him with the y'all.